So Najla,
Najla.
yeah, and then
Zayda.
this,
Zaidi.
this one is not here,
Okay.
but she's here, and Najla Zaidi,
Okay.
and then Layla is here. Dr. Layla, where is she?
Right here.
Layla Gibali is
Right.
here, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's better if you start, Sister Nadira.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And just introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you.
You're a member of MIT Advisory Board.
I thank you.
Board
Tell me who I am, because I don't know.
Otherwise, I'm going to tell the story. If you don't introduce yourself, I'm going to tell the story.
Okay.
Here, Sylvia, I wrote already here. And
You're on it.
And this is why we have this conference. Reclaim the narrative of Muslim women, celebrate the legacy of righteous women in Islam, if you want to.
Okay. I can use part of it with what I'm.
Inshallah.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We always begin in the name of God, in the name of Allah. And Ashhadu an la ilaha illallahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. And Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I want you to know something. Something else is very important. And if you notice it in the environment, guess what? Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. For those of you who don't know that, and for those of you who do, can you think of a better greeting than Salaam Alaikum nowadays or any day? Okay, babe, I don't want to pop. Can you think of a better greeting than Assalamu Alaikum? I'm wishing you peace. I don't know you. I'm not saying hi or what's up or how's it going. I'm telling you that I want peace for you. And inshallah, God willing, you'll return it. And if not, guess what? You know by my smile that I'm not using curse words on you. What I would like for you to do, this is a special evening with special people. And before I start, I would like for you to take a pause and look at the person next to you. I've done this before and I love it. You may not have met them, but look at them, whether it's a brother or sister, and give them a smile. Come on, that was a short smile. Give them a smile. You don't have to know who they are. Give them a smile. I don't know if you're familiar or not, but when you give a smile in Islam, that's charity. You've been blessed to give someone a smile, particularly during these very, very, very difficult times. We're in a peaceful setting that you have helped develop. You say, well, I didn't do anything. Yes, you did. You might not have known it. But just by supporting the activities, the school, the people that are here, you are part of the progress. And that's why we exist. We have to always remember, no matter how small, just a smile, or just a courtesy, or just a thoughtfulness is a blessing, and it makes things better. We have some wonderful speakers. And I want to welcome and thank all of you. It is always a pleasure and a blessing for me to come before you. You know why? Because we could be someplace else. But we're here, and we're supporting each other, whether the numbers are large or the numbers are small. How many battles have we read about where there was a small number, but they did the work? We're doing the work now by supporting what I consider one of the most wonderful environments. And yes, you are a part of it. Why do I say that? Because years ago, this school, MET, started as an idea and eventually grew into a basement. I have witnesses here for that. And then from there, it went to PSU. And then from there, little by little, the weekend school became this. You are a part of this wonderful educational experience. We have speakers who have shared their education, and whether you have a degree or not, whatever you do helps. We have to keep this spirit alive. We have to know that even if horrendous things are happening around the world, guess what? These horrendous things will bring and are bringing about a change. The awareness of people of what's right and what's wrong and what they stand for is being tested. Is this okay? No. Is this okay? No. We are constantly being challenged. So it gives me a great sense of thankfulness and gratefulness to be able to address you, because we're in this struggle together. And the change is coming. And the change is coming now, whether we identify it or not. Some things happen because other things are supposed to follow. We don't always have the wisdom. We don't always know what that means. But let's say one day, sounds small, someone will say, Assalamu alaikum, and you're surprised. Wa alaikum assalam. You are surprised at their response. We're becoming more and more aware. We have to be mindful of this. We must keep faith and we must keep hope. Even if we may not believe the same, we must keep hope. I have a story I want to share with you. After I go through the major issues of our conference, we are very blessed to invite you to a powerful and uplifting gathering. And it's called Giving Voice, Gaining Voice, Women's Moral Authority in Shaping Public Discourse. We have to speak up. We must not sit silently. But it's not just about words. We speak up, but then we have to what? We have to do the work. So whenever I see places like this or other places where people are working together to try to make things better, it's more than just professing. It's a matter of doing, honoring what you say you believe in, And I think nowadays more things are happening so that we are having to speak up. We cannot sit silently. We cannot be quiet. And there's nothing wrong with being quiet. But we have to speak up too. At a time when the world speaks about women's rights, the dignity, and empowerment, we come together to reflect on the truth that was revealed over 1,400 years ago. A truth rooted in divine guidance, justice, and honor. More and more people are returning to that. Some people don't have a sense of direction. A lot of times we look at our youth and we say, oh, what are they doing? What is this? My grandson was working on his laptop, of course, and he was saying, I said, grandson, what is that? He said, oh, Grandma, it's not important. I said, yes, it is. I want to know. I said, I hear people killing and shooting each other. Do you know that's our problem nowadays? And what kind of gun are you using? That's an AR, what? I want to know. Even if I don't use the right word, I want to know what you're involved in, how you're thinking, and I want you to know that you can share it with me. I may not agree, but we need to talk about it. We are being bombarded and policed every day. And many times we feel helpless. We say, well, what can I do? Lots of things. Look to see what community services are available, what kind of time you have, where you want to commit it, what you want to do to help. And this is a place to help as well. This is not an reactive acknowledgement. This is the reaffirmation of a legacy where women are honored as mothers, leaders, scholars, and pillars of society. Now, for my beloved brothers, I don't want you to feel neglected or left out because you know you're not. But your support and your initiatives and your work are valued as well. We need each other. Not to abuse each other or to disrespect each other. Well, you should be doing more. Or you don't do this and you won't do that. What are you doing? So, my beloved brothers, you are included in this conversation about the giving and gaining of women. Let us stand together, not just as a celebration, but in conviction, in doing. The honor of women in Islam is not seasonal, but eternal. And whatever we do as Muslim women, or women, period, guess what? Who do we affect? Everyone. Even in your little circle, you think, oh, nobody really knows. You never know whose heart you touched, whose understanding became greater because of you and yours, and what we can do together. Together, this happened. Together, there are so many other places across the United States and world where people are striving to do a work, even though sometimes it seems so daunting. But guess what? It's doable. We have been blessed with all kinds of scholars, educators, all of which have something to offer. But what do we do with that knowledge? I'm a scientist. How are you helping? Well, I'm a scientist. Great. How are you helping? What work are you doing? Not just the job that you might be in, but in other ways. Your presence is not just welcomed. I am thankful that you come, that you have come, and that you have welcomed me. You are listening, and hopefully something will inspire or encourage us to do more. I have to share a couple of things. And these couple of things were, you know, you always get bad news. Maybe you don't have the same stations I do. Then I end up turning them off because I'm like, okay, this is it. All right? But there are some stations where you get good news. And I want to share. Think about it. I want to share with you what I consider good news. When Madani was elected, I thought, okay, this is a change, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. I read stories that when it was snowing, he went out in the snow and helped shovel snow. When there were potholes, not that he has to do that, and not that he was doing it for the public eye, and if he was, that's good too. Potholes being shoveled in. He wasn't above it. He's letting the people know, look, I'm connected. We're connected. We're going to get this done. Only God knows. Only Allah knows what his agenda is. But right now, in this moment, he's showing that he cares. He's very human. And I'm willing to do this work. I was also pleased the other day when I read in Ghana that they had held a conference with the UN. And in this conference, what was brought about was a declaration that the slavery was not humane, it should not be accepted, it should not still be on the books, that slavery is okay. And I thought, what? Now, of course, we know. We have an idea of what's right and wrong. But of the 100 and so delegations or countries, 123 countries voted against slavery and said that the people, African Americans, should be compensated. Wonderful time for compensation when gas is going up and everything else, right? You're like, what? Yes. This was passed by 123 countries. You can look it up. You know where to look. 53 countries, guess what they did? They abstained. They abstained. Said, well, it's kind of okay. And there were 3 countries who said, oh, it's nothing wrong with slavery. It's okay. Can I tell you what countries those were? Do I need to? Do I need to? USA. Ta-da. Israel. And Argentina. I'm like, Argentina? I gotta look up something about their history. What is their connection? Even though Africans were imported through the diaspora, taken to different places. And I said, look at this. We have world countries. We have 123 at this convention, this conference. 53. We're like, maybe, maybe not. And 3 are emphatic. So guess what? We have work to do. And every little bit helps. Get involved. I want to share this with you because it's time for our speaker. But tomorrow we also have the panelists, which will be all women's, and that's tomorrow. But I'm familiar with Dalia Mujahid's work. Not just an educator, not just an intellectual or a scholar, but someone who has in fact been doing the work. She is here to share her knowledge. Let us take what we can to empower ourselves or to share with our children. And I think it's very important. I mention the children a lot because as I'm at that stage, I want to make sure that my grandchildren know about me. I want them to know that Grammy has no problems with this game that I'm playing in this game, and that's why. She doesn't particularly like this movie, but she tells me why she doesn't like it. And then we talk about it. Or I have a teenager who says, Mom or Dad, you don't understand. It's okay. You don't need to know. It's not important. Yes, it is. This is, in fact, influencing our future. Getting back to my beloved sister who has been very patient, and you all have too. What a wonderful audience. I should have you smile at each other again or stand up and stretch your arms or something special like that. But we want to get started because I just want you to know, once again, I am thankful, so very thankful to be a part of this community. It is a blessing. It is a blessing. The brother told me to make sure that I introduced myself. My name is Nadira Najib. Anyone who knows anything about WASHD and the staff is here on the school, you know that they are committed and have been for years. And I'm so thankful to be a part of that. So much so that when we got together and the school was in the basement and there was just 12 students and then we went to PSU and now we're here, I was a parent and a concerned educator. Even though it has taken time, guess what? I have my daughter, whose name is Nadira too. My husband, Allah have mercy on him, said, I can't have enough Nadiras. I was like, oh, really? So my name is Nadira. My oldest daughter's name is Nadira. And my granddaughter, who is attending this school, is Nadira. And so what happens is that people would ask me, how do you know when your husband would say your names? I said, oh, no problem. I said for the granddaughter, he would say, darling, come here. She's 10 now, I think. And then he would say, Nadira, that's my middle daughter. I mean, my oldest daughter. And then he would say, Nadira. So we knew it was me. Did you hear the tone? It was you, Mom. And so I was blessed to have a very good husband who was part of this. And all I really want you to know is that I'm thankful to be around committed people. And even if you're not per se completely sold, at least you were able to smile at the other person sitting next to you. And with that, I would like for my beloved sister, who is more than paper states, or any paper can state about anyone, someone who is offering and part of the struggle that we are involved in and part of the progress that we are making. And believe me, it may not seem like, but we are making progress, and we are making a difference, and we are making a change, and we will speak up, and we will not be quiet, and we will go and deal with it. I'm the type, you can tell, right? So may Allah grant you and me not only knowledge, wisdom, but as my sister would say, and we always say, not only knowledge and wisdom, the application of that knowledge, but an understanding. Get an understanding. And I think more and more people are getting an understanding of what's really going on in the world and who's doing what and why they're doing it. My beloved sister, alhamdulillah.
السلام عليكم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. It is my first time speaking in Portland, and I'm just so excited to be here. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to have this conversation. And thank you, Sister Nadira, for that wonderful introduction. Brother Wajdi and everyone else who made this possible. And thank you to whoever set this up. I feel like I'm getting married by myself up here. I came all the way from Washington, D.C. It was a 6-hour flight because we have some critical work to do. And I'm inspired by the origin story in the Quran, where Allah says to the angels that He is going to put on earth a Khalifa. And despite their questions or their objections, He says to them, I know that which you do not know. And He goes on to teach Adam the names of all things, meaning that He has given us the truth. He has guided us. And with that guidance, we have a responsibility, and that is to fulfill His will on earth. This responsibility of being a Khalifa on earth is so lofty, so noble, and so inspiring that even when we feel weak, when we feel like the odds are against us, it reminds us that our voice is necessary. Our voice is vital. So how do we truly make change? How do we get past the resistance that we will definitely find? And when we deal with that resistance, how do we hold on to that sense of empowerment? Today, I'm going to show you how we can create change and implement our ideas even when we hit people, we hit up against obstacles, by leading with courage, compassion, and connectedness. Now, like many of you in this room, I'm a recovering engineer. I'm also Egyptian, so saying I'm an engineer is a little redundant, but I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison with a degree in chemical engineering. And right after my graduation, I joined Procter & Gamble as an engineer. I got married, I had my first baby. Then later, I went to business school and eventually joined a company called Gallup. Now, about a year into my time at Gallup, I got this huge opportunity to move to DC and head the Gallup Center for Muslim Studies. Oh my God, it was my dream job. I couldn't believe this was my life. So I was 9 months pregnant with my second baby, and me and my husband and our son were on our way to start our new lives in DC with my brand new amazing job. And then, like 3 days after we arrived in our new city, I was invited to do my very first Washington, D.C. Policy Forum panel. I couldn't believe it. I was in D.C. and I was speaking to policymakers at a real think tank, just like the big kids. And so I called my mom, I told her, and she said, you know, Habibti, we're very proud of you. I'm going to call your grandmother and ask her to pray for you. And then I read the rest of the email, and I realized I was really going to need these prayers. Because the other speakers on this panel I was invited on were two extremely popular Islamophobic pundits who basically had made their living, made their name, dehumanizing and demonizing people like me and many of you. And they were big shots. They were on TV, they had best-selling books, and then me, right? So this was before I had any kind of public exposure of any kind, not a single TV appearance. I hadn't written a book, I hadn't done anything. I hadn't actually spoken anywhere outside a classroom. I was fresh out of business school, and I was basically a nerd at Gallup, and I would have to speak on this panel with the two of them. And if I were really honest, I had this job, one I didn't even really think I could do, and I didn't really think I deserved. I thought it was a fluke. I thought it was an accident. And yet here I was. So it was as if Allah was saying to me, you know, you made a dua that as my Khalifa you wanted to be useful, and here's your opportunity. So here it was, and I realized that you need to be careful what I prayed for. So have you ever had to show up and do something that truly terrified you? This was the situation for me. And on top of all of it, I was pregnant. I was very, very pregnant. And it was July. And none of my clothes even fit anymore. And I remember that week, someone had asked me if I was having twins. I wasn't. So there was this negative voice running in my head, like, how do you think you're going to do this? And these two are so mean and so experienced at being mean. They're more experienced than you at these talking points. They are used to these forums, and you're brand new. Why do you think you can do this? You'll probably get fired. And it's a good thing you haven't unpacked yet. But wait a minute. This was a big deal. This was important, a very important venue. In fact, the biggest think tank in the world was where I was speaking. And it was a critical conversation that needed to happen. I would have the opportunity to replace misinformation with evidence. I was a survey researcher at Gallup's Center for Muslim Studies. And what that meant is I got to listen to the voices of ordinary Muslims. People who had been spoken about but rarely listened to, the silenced majority. And I could take their voice to the halls of power. I could take their voice to policymakers. And then it hit me. This was way bigger than me. This was about giving invisible people a voice, people who were often discussed but never heard from. I could bring their voice, their point of view, to people who made decisions in Washington, decisions that affected their lives. So after getting sick, I took a deep, big girl breath and said, okay, this is a policy discussion. I'm a researcher at Gallup. I know my stuff. I have data and evidence. And they have hype and bigotry. This is just about speaking the truth. And I know every point they're going to make because guess what? They're on TV, as I mentioned. They have books, as I mentioned. And they have no idea what I'm going to say because no one's ever heard of me. So my weakness is my strength. So I did what I do. I dug in. I did the research. I watched their videos. I read their articles. And it wasn't hard because they repeated themselves a lot. And their message was really simple. Islam oppresses women. Destroy Islam, liberate women. I wouldn't give them a prize for originality, but it was simple. It was easy to believe, especially in that political climate in 2006. Of course, not now. 2026, we're way beyond that. But so the Gallup data that I was analyzing painted a completely different picture. The research showed that women all over Muslim majority countries and Muslim women in the West absolutely wanted equality. And in many cases, they didn't think they had it. They thought there was room to grow, but they did not blame their faith. They blamed other things. They blamed culture. They blamed economic underdevelopment. Instead, they saw their faith as a source of empowerment. It empowered them to own property, inherit, initiate a divorce, manage their own wealth, politically participate, become a scholar of their faith, and so much more. And this was 1,400 years ago, more than 1,000 years before these rights would be granted to women in Europe. So no, Islam was not holding women back. Moreover, Muslim women had something to say about what they wanted, and they should be speaking for themselves. So I had the facts, I had my arguments, I had my Lane Bryant maternity suit, and I was ready. So I got to the venue early and I scanned the audience. It was a room smaller than this, but it had about as many people. It was packed. And it was exactly what I had imagined Washington policy forums to look like. So everyone looked important. They were wearing boxy suits and nobody was smiling. So the moderator began, and he introduced all of us. The other two panelists were authors and had appeared on Oprah. They had won Moral Courage Awards. And obviously, they had some groupies in the room who were applauding them and cheering for them. And my bio basically just read nerd from Gallup. And I would speak last. I sat and I listened to both of them say exactly what I knew each of them would say. The audience nodded thoughtfully. I heard them each deliver carefully rehearsed applause lines. And guess what? People applauded. Everything I anticipated they would say, they said. And the audience ate it up. And I was sitting there sweating. And then it was my turn. The pregnant lady with the headscarf. My voice was shaking. I was absolutely terrified. And I kept talking though, building my argument, delivering my data points. And then somehow, I don't know from where, my voice got stronger, more dynamic, even confident. I had anticipated every point they made and had counter arguments to refute it. I not only dismantled their flawed narrative, but I offered compelling explanations and counter solutions to what they were offering. Things like education and human development as alternatives to dehumanization of Muslim societies and Islam. The audience was turning. People started nodding, taking notes, which is like the most flattering thing you can do for a speaker. They even laughed at my rare jokes, which is the other flattering thing you can do for a speaker. I was winning them over. Now, near the end, one of the other panelists almost seemed to actually admit defeat by saying, next time I'll have to come with data of my own. It's like, whoa. And then after the panel, a prominent journalist in the room came up and told me she thought my presentation was the most compelling she had heard on the topic. Several people asked for my card. It was my induction into the DC policy community. So wow, I had done it. Data won over dehumanization. I called my mom, I said, I did it, it was great. She said, I'm very proud of you. So I took a risk and it was all reward and no cost, right? Wrong. So a few days later, I got a call to go into my CEO's office. So not my boss, not his boss, but like the boss of the whole company. So, wow, I've only been here a few days and already I'm getting a promotion. I walked into his office and he looked really serious. He said, I got an email today about your presentation earlier this week. Wow, really? More praise? The woman who had written in was a prominent operative in DC and married to a high-level government official. This was during the Bush years. We were in Iraq. And he reads the letter out loud to me. It says things like, I wanted you to know what was being said in your name. And she was proselytizing about Islam in a way that had nothing to do with Gallup. I was being told on. I froze. About the worst thing you can do in a research company is appear to be biased. And that's what I was being accused of. I had embarrassed my company. I had embarrassed him. Oh my God. And then he says to me, I was there, and you represented our research and our company with excellence. So I want you to ask yourself, how often have you spoken up? And how often have you not spoken up because you felt like what you were saying was unpopular? How often have you kept quiet because you thought it would cause trouble or contradict the most powerful or popular person in the room? How many times have you had that moment when you say, do I speak or do I stay quiet? Do I play it safe or do I take a risk? I'm not here to tell you the outcome is always terrific. It isn't. But there are things you can do to empower your message. The first is preparation. Know your stuff. Do your homework. Research the resistance. Anticipate your opposition's strongest points. Then take them down one by one with facts. The second thing we have to do is form allies. We can't do this alone. We have to involve others. Find other people who are going to support you and your vision of change. So my boss, my CEO, he wasn't my boss, he, in this case, was an ally. He knew the research, and he knew that what I presented was simply what we found in our research. And he thank God, was in the room when I delivered it. This also means institutional protection for truth tellers. Are we protecting those who speak out courageously in our institutions? Or are we throwing them under the bus? Most of all, never forget that it's bigger than you. Courage comes not from just having no fear. It comes from the realization that some things are more important than your fear. And then have fun. What does that mean? Come at this from a place of generosity, not need. What do I mean by that? You know, I started this speech by doing the prayer of Musa alayhi salam, Moses. His dua, his prayer to Allah, when he was about to confront a tyrant like Pharaoh, he prayed to be understood, not admired, not even accepted, but understood. So when we come to our audience from a place of generosity, not need, where we want to share a new idea rather than beg for their approval or validation, we have different energy when we're speaking. We have different energy when we're connecting. Approach everyone from a place of generosity. You have something to give, not something to take. And the truth is, had I not risked embarrassing myself and alienating myself from my new professional community, I wouldn't be speaking here today, because it was my CEO's encouragement after that episode that allowed me to do my current career. It was my delivery at that forum that opened so many other opportunities, that allowed me to write a book with one of my heroes, Professor John Esposito, which eventually led to an appointment with President Barack Obama, and I got to give a TED Talk. And then the highlight of my entire life was I got to be on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. And you know, this is the first time I'm telling this story, because honestly, I'm scared of these same people coming after me. And that tells us something. When we make these choices of, do I speak or should I stay silent? It's not easy, and it doesn't get any easier. So next time in a meeting, someone more powerful or more popular than you says something that you know isn't true, and everyone is nodding, everyone is smiling, will you be silent, or are you going to take a risk and speak up? So making real change when you're going to face resistance does begin with courage, but it also requires compassion. A young woman wrote me after my TED Talk. Her name is Selma, and she had to find her voice. She said, quote, "I'm being bullied at school. They're calling me the wife of ISIS. They're pulling off my headscarf. They're asking me if I have a bomb in my backpack. I told my teacher and she did nothing. My parents called the principal and he did nothing. I tried to defend myself and just got more abused. I felt helpless and alone, and soon my sadness turned to anger. I started to hate them, not just the bullies, but those that silently watched, my other classmates, my teachers, everyone involved in some way. I just wanted to disappear." She went on to say this, though. "My cousin sent me a link to your TED Talk. I saw you speak to a huge audience with confidence. But what really affected me was you spoke about the problems we're facing with kindness and courage and not hate. You acted like you wanted to give your audience a gift of understanding rather than take from them the charity of acceptance. And I realized maybe I can do the same by shifting my focus from what I could get to what I can give. Maybe not to the bullies, but to everyone else. So I did something I thought I'd never do. Instead of disappearing, I asked my principal if I could give a presentation in front of the whole school. To my surprise, the principal agreed. I used your TED Talk as a model. At this point, I was literally in tears reading her email. Her letter went on to say, I went on the stage in the auditorium in front of everyone, people who had teased me and people who silently watched, my teachers, my principal, everyone. My mom was in the front row, and I looked to her for reassurance. I was shaking but didn't stop. I spoke from my heart. I was so scared, but I told myself, like you said, this is not about me. It's bigger than me. It's more important than my fear. I told my classmates about what it felt like to be bullied and how afraid I was to do this speech, but I did it because I couldn't give up on our school. At the end, I challenged everyone to speak up when they saw something wrong. I said it was hard for everyone and that everyone was scared, but our enemy was not each other. At the end, the auditorium was completely silent. Then a few people started clapping, then more, then the whole auditorium was clapping, and they stood up for me. I got a standing ovation. She says, things aren't perfect now, but they're much better. I don't feel afraid anymore because I didn't let bullies take away my voice. And the truth is, a lot of us have bullies in our lives. And the worst bully, by far, is the one that lives in your head, telling you you're not enough, you shouldn't do what you want, or that you should be further ahead. You shouldn't try to make change because who do you think you are? This is the bully we have to stand up to, first, with self-compassion. And our tradition teaches us that our hearts and minds are a trust, an amana from Allah, to be protected, the vessel that helps us connect with our Creator. It has to be preserved, not destroyed. Compassion, my brothers and sisters, is the opposite of weakness. It is being anchored in the belief that God is all-powerful, and our work in His service is not ours by ourselves. Regardless of our outcome, He is the one we're serving. The other thing about compassion is in communities, it means allowing people to be themselves and still belong. And the final component of making change is connection. Making real change requires that we not act alone. I'm talking about amplifying other people's good work, finding a mentor and being a mentor, and building communities that prioritize belonging over cliques. Building community also has to be a priority in our life. Making change is absolutely a team sport. So, as I close today, I want to leave you with one of my favorite stories. And this is from Islamic history, a long, long time ago. It's a story of a Muslim woman hero that I'm pretty sure most of you have never heard of. She lived more than 1,000 years ago, but her story still holds relevance today. Let me set the scene for you. It's the early 13th century, and the Mongols invaded Muslim lands in Central Asia and the Middle East. Cities like Bukhara, where we, of course, know Imam al-Bukhari, and Baghdad, both centers for Muslim learning and civilization, were destroyed. The Mongol methods were total destruction and mass killing. Historians estimate the death toll conservatively as 2 to 3 million. And during these rampages, a Muslim princess was captured by Genghis Khan after he murdered her entire family, and she was enslaved. She was given to his son as a concubine. Can you just imagine what she is going through? After her country is destroyed, her family is murdered, now she's enslaved to the very people who caused this destruction. How would you feel? Would you fall into despair? Would you try to fawn and gain approval from your new captors? Would you lose hope? So, although many of us feel powerless to change because of our circumstances, this story should give us a different perspective. They tried to strip everything from her. Her family, her royal title, her entire nation. But she refused to let go of the most valuable thing she had, which was her faith. So Genghis Khan's son actually fell in love with her because of her beautiful character and faith. And so he freed her and made her a full wife. And what that meant is that her children would be full legitimate heirs of the throne. Now, she had no freedom to leave, no choice in the marriage, but now she had, at least the ability to raise her children. And so she secretly started to talk to her son about her faith, tell him about Islam, as much as she could. She was very young when she was captured. But she encouraged him to go to a scholar in Bukhara on his way back to Mongolia and sit and study with him. And he did what his mother asked. And he sat with the scholar, he debated with the scholar, he asked every question he had, he doubted, he challenged. And the scholar was very, very patient and in fact wrote him a book that he took with him back to Mongolia and read on the way back about Islam. And by the time he had reached his mother, he was ready to take his shahada. His name was Baraka Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan. And he played a pivotal role in history. Now, those of you familiar with Islamic history might know that what is credited with the halt of the Mongol invasions in Muslim lands were the Mamluks in Egypt in a decisive battle called Ain Jalut. But what we never get told is why the Mongols didn't regroup and simply reattack. Why was this one battle what stopped this seemingly unstoppable force? The answer is because they had to divert their troops to the north to fight other Mongols under the leadership of Baraka Khan, the Muslim leader, who was so devastated by the destruction of Baghdad that he declared war against his own cousin. And it was this that saved the Muslim Ummah from the Mongols. One woman's faith, one woman refusing to lose hope. And what was her name? Risala, message. And she has a message for us today. No matter where you are, work within your sphere of influence. Never lose hope. Never feel that you are too small to make a difference. The future of the Ummah may depend on it. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I have a lot of information here that I probably won't remember. But then there's a lot that I may. Very inspiring, and then true. We need to know these great things about our culture, our history. We talk about the truth. We don't get a lot of that in the news, the actual truth, or anything that's inspiring about the work that we have done and we are doing. We need to continue. Jazakallah khair again, sister. I would like to introduce the other sisters who will be part of the panel. Tomorrow. And if I mispronounce your name, forgive me, be kind, give me a smile, nod your head, and come up here. All right. Dr. Layla El-Gubari, would you please? Thank you. Would you please come up here with the sister? One of our educators, one of our scholars, and one of the panelists for tomorrow. Let's see here. Jenny Kim, Executive Director, Partners in Diversity. And Najia, did I say it correctly? Come on, Najia. Okay. Najia. Let me see here. Zaidi. You were waiting for that last name, weren't you? Yes. Thank you. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Najila. I tried. Okay. And she is the director of the Hollywood Burn. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. These are some of the women, the sisters, who will be part of the panel tomorrow. So I'm hoping that you will come. Each one of them has their own journey, just like each one of us have our own journey. I loved, it's nothing like the true story about struggling and going through the real journey. We can make up things, but to actually experience it. And so each one of these sisters has a story and a journey to share. And maybe next time you. But we're all on this journey, different ways, different places, but we're still on it. All right. I think that it's about time for questions, if anyone has any, or they can just talk about what they do. Okay. All right. Please go first and talk about what you do.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name's Najla Zaidi. I'm the director of the Muslim Public Affairs Council Hollywood Bureau, and we are located in Los Angeles, our office, and we also have policy in our Washington, D.C. office. And basically, I'm a screenwriter and director. I have earned an MFA in screenwriting from UCLA, and I did a very prestigious directing workshop for women at the American Film Institute, where I was the first Muslim woman that they ever accepted into that program. So I'd like to say I cracked the ceiling there, and since then, they've let other women in. So I've written and directed short films, music videos, public service announcements, a music documentary. And I've done writer for hire work on numerous projects. And now, as of last September, I became the director of the Hollywood Bureau, because I know how difficult it is in Hollywood for Muslims, both male and female, to get their foot in the door. So since I had struggled with it so long, when this opportunity came open, I thought I want to be on the other side where I can help Muslims, screenwriters, directors, actors get their foot in the door, basically. So that's what I do.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jenny Kim. I am the executive director of a nonprofit in Oregon called Partners in Diversity. So Partners in Diversity started 25 years ago because a lot of larger employers in Oregon, like Intel and Nike, knew that in order for them to be a global competitor, that they needed more diverse workforce. So definitely went out and recruited a lot of engineers from other countries and other cultures, because obviously we understand that our diverse perspectives and ideas and the way that we process information helps with innovation and creativity. And so our nonprofit was started to support professionals of color who come to Oregon, which is not very diverse, to try to make sure that we can have people find community with one another and feel supported at workplaces. And that's the work that we do. We try to make sure that you feel like you belong, that you're seen as who you are, as an individual contributor in a way that is able to have a power to change in the system and programs as well too. And I'm also a recovering tech person. I was in sales and not in engineering, but I think that it's wonderful that in Oregon that we show up for each other like this. I'm also from Southern California, and in some ways, even though it's a lot more diverse in other places, people don't always show up for one another. And I do think in Oregon, one of the things that I see is, we show up for each other. Maybe because there are not very many of us. But so I'm always very humbled and feel very welcome by Brother Wajdi and Muslim Education Trust for always inviting us and welcoming us into your space and, giving us an opportunity to learn about one another. And I'm honored to be part of this panel.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Laila El Gibali. I'm originally from Egypt and came here for knowledge. I got my bachelor degree from University of Alexandria in nuclear engineering, and I joined the nuclear engineering here too. Kept going back and forth between Egypt and the US, and we finally decided to stay here. So we have been working here at the university for 4 years or so. I retired 10 years ago, but I'm back to the university at the request of the Department of Energy, because I'm working in an area which is the radioactive waste. I'm sure that you all heard about it, and they cannot find a replacement. So they asked me to go back for part-time. So I'm back to the university. So I talk science. I don't talk much Islam. I'm a Muslim. I know about Islam, but don't give me any questions about Islam. But if you need anything about nuclear engineering, I'm here. And my husband is here too. He's a nuclear engineer also. Hamid Sawan, raise your hand. And I have 2 sons and a granddaughter. My sons are civil engineers. They don't want to be nuclear engineer, otherwise the house will explode. So this is my story.
Look at how fortunate we are to have these sisters here to share their journey. They'll be with us tomorrow, inshallah. And I want you to know that when I think about just the wealth of information, skills, and stories, real ones. All right? I'm always tickled when my child talks about, my older ones, being authentic. Being authentic these days. I said, well, is that the same as being real? And they said, yeah, Mom, it's the same. I listen to these words and the terminology, and I'm like, is that the same as this? And they'll say, yes. And other times when I ask, they say, it's not important, it's really dumb. And I am tickled because they're realizing and analyzing, this makes sense, this is does not make sense. And this is for the younger ones too, as well. I want to start. Now, the sister already told us she was being very authentic like everyone else, and she said, don't ask about what the sister's name during the historical Islamic era. But if you would like to hear about her experience, this is the time to ask. We still have time, and that's a blessing too. So, anyone who would like to ask one of the sisters, our colleagues, our educators, our scientists, our, I forgot what you mentioned, but the Bureau of Acting, and that's not what you said. But anyway, I know what you meant. And so please, feel free to do it now. And remember, we're asking out of kindness and wanting to know. Not sometimes people just ask questions to ask questions. And then sometimes people ask questions to show how much they really don't know. They think they know. And so they ask the questions that is supposed to make them seem really intelligent. We're not about that right here. We're about being intelligent, but not asking questions that challenge, but are not done through respect and kindness. This is what makes our atmosphere different. As the sister Dahlia mentioned, and I was just pleased. She said, you go someplace and their whole intent is to destroy you or to cause you to feel inferior or you to question your value. We may not have certain information, but we are of value. We are Allah's creation. And we're not here without his permission. Okay, questions? Yes, loudly. We can't hear you. You're gonna have to speak up or you can come get the mic. Come on up, speak. No, that's all right. All of us can.
Assalamu alaikum. This is the question for each of you. I just wanted to know, how did you find the way where you are, like your profession? Why did you choose your way?
Did everyone hear the question? Did everyone hear the question? Thank you. Let me know. The question was basically, how did each one of these women, our sisters, our panelists, decide to choose the profession that they did?
Well, in Egypt, we listen to our parents. Yes. My father was a civil engineer, and I had several choices at the college where to go. The most suitable one for women would be chemical engineering. And Sorry, Dalia, I hate chemistry. So I told him, no, something else. So he said nuclear engineering. So I said, okay, we'll try that one. So this is how I got into the nuclear area. And this is where I met my husband too.
So I was supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer. And undergrad, I literally did the first 2 years pre-med, and I hated chemistry, and I could not measure sand. All we had to do was pour sand from one beaker to another, and it would never be the same for me. So that was my sign from God, this is not it. And so then I got a degree in philosophy with a minor in history, because I was going to go to law school. I got accepted to law school, and my ex-husband at the time said, I had gotten married right then. My ex-husband said, no, you're not going to school, you have to work. So when our son was 9 months old, for fun, I took a screenwriting class at a local college. And it was like the light bulb went off, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And I remembered back when I was a teenager, when I went to see the movie Star Wars. It was in Kansas. I grew up in Kansas. It was only playing in one theater in the entire state, and that happened to be near where I lived. And every Friday, I would, with my allowance, I would go to McDonald's, get fries and a Coke, and then go to a movie. And I could do that every week. And when I saw Star Wars, it was like, this is what I want to do. And so I took that with that class. I finished that script. And when my son was 9 months old, I wrote that script. I applied to film school, and it took time. And when he was 4, when I finally, I was going through a divorce, I applied to film school, and I got accepted. And it was a miracle because I went to UCLA. That program has 3,500 to 5,000 applicants. They only accept 15 people. Out of 15, I was one of 3 that got in on the first try. And basically, my professor said that your script needed so much work, but there was so much potential and passion that we knew we had to let you in. And I believe I was the first or second Muslim woman they ever let into the program, and I was also the first single mother that they ever let into the program. So that's what it was. It was the passion, and by that time, my parents saw that this was something I was really good at, and I loved it. And even though the road in Hollywood is horrible, and it's extremely hard, but it's what I love to do, and I always say this is my soul. So writing is my soul, and my job with MPAC is working that soul and making it available to everybody. And I'm also doing a screenwriting lab on Sunday afternoon if you would like to attend here from 1:30 to 3:30.
That sounds like a good movie right there.
Yes, totally, yes. That could be a great movie. So I think, as expected, as an Asian woman as well in the US, there was a lot of pressure to go into STEM field. And so my undergrad, I also went to UCLA, I majored in microbiology and molecular genetics, which has nothing to do with what I do now. So what I want to say to younger people in the space is don't box yourself into anything, because life will take you and open doors that you don't think about. So I always thought I was going to do biomedical research. I actually loved chemistry and biology and loved working in a lab. And then I thought, before I just have the rest of my life in a windowless basement of a lab, I want to go get a job and do something fun. So I wanted to give myself 1 year break into a career of PhDs and research and microbiology. I went and applied for a job, which was actually really difficult because nobody would hire me because I was a microbiology and molecular genetics major. But I finally got a job at a technology company as an inventory management person because I was good at numbers and patterns. And I was going to come back to PhD program at UCLA. And in my 9th month, and I had 3 months left to go back to school, the director of marketing came to me and asked me, hey, I see that you have a research background. Is it possible to maybe apply your scientific methods in kind of lead generation and marketing processes? And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. And she's like, you get to travel, on company's time and, go to places. So I thought, I could just probably postpone it 1 year. And so that led me to a career pathway that I never expected, and I didn't go back to PhD program. And I had friends who stayed on to do PhD program and went to medical school. And in a couple of years, I ended up making more money than any of them because I was in high tech. And I'm married to a physician. And when we got married at age 30, I definitely was the one who put down payment on our house. And all the credit card that we had, I was a primary holder and he was a secondary. So yeah, I think that was the thing, is that I never thought that I was a business person. That wasn't a thing that I considered. Nobody told me that that was a pathway. And I think because we don't see somebody who looked like us in that space, we don't think about that's an option. But when people have if people say, try this, would you consider it? Try it, right? You never know. If you don't like it, you can always go back. And so for me, that's what I think is important, is being open-minded about trying different things. And so the reason that I'm in nonprofit now is because I feel incredibly lucky and privileged to have been in those places where I did get to make, comfortable life for myself and my family. And at some point, I could have climbed the corporate ladder, but how much money do you want and what does that mean in life? And so I wanted to use that experience and my voice, because one of my favorite quotes that I like to use is from Spider-Man, which says, with great power comes great responsibility. And so I felt that my power was the fact that I speak English. I was US educated, I'm a US citizen. I had experiences and positions in places that get me at the seat at the table. And so I wanted to make sure that I can create those empowerment for other people, and that's why I'm now in nonprofit. And I always say, a lot of young folks want to change the world like today. Do your work and go to school, get as many degrees or certifications and statuses as you possibly can, because with those power, you can make bigger changes. And so that's what I would suggest, is invest in yourself first and then help others.
Is there someone else who has a question?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. First, I have to say that I'm invigorated and enjoyed the session so far, and I'm so much looking forward, inshallah, God willing, to tomorrow, because this amount of experience, skills, and people who are high achievers, in my humble opinion, those people are high achievers, and they have shared with us tonight a lot of their personal achievements, successes, and some of the difficulties that they've encountered, and a lot of the things that they didn't know were gonna happen, like career changes and the skill sets that they acquired. And I just want to encourage everybody who is a woman to come tomorrow, and then you can share with the males in your life what you will continue to learn. I also have one question for Dalia, since she came the longest distance to be with us and give us generously of her time, her skills, her experiences, her achievements, her successes. I mean, I could take time doing that, but I think it's best used if she talks about two things that I'd like her, and maybe other people can ask her other questions and ask this distinguished, amazing panel that we have here other questions. Okay, so here are my two questions for Dalia, and maybe my sister Nadira, who for 30-some years, she and I have been through struggles and battles and wars, and we are still standing here, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us health. Thank you. So Sister Nadira will maybe repeat my question if somebody didn't hear it or want just an explanation. The first question to Dalia is I wanted a little bit more about her meeting with President Obama, what she got out of the meeting, whether there was a lot of positivity coming out of it, were there a lot of difficulties, what happened after that. And I'm also hoping that she would have a couple of minutes to talk to us about her book. It seemed to me that her life was so full with family and accomplishments and work and successes and careers and so on that I'm wondering how she had time to do the book, and maybe she can give us a little bit more about what the book would have, because we probably, I for one, will want to acquire the book and know a little bit more about Dalia's journey so far, and will probably continue to witness her successes and learn as time goes on, as the years go on, because I expect she will reach heights, and we are proud of her, and I am personally proud of her and wish her every success. And I thank my sister Nadira, and I can't be here to talk about Sister Nadira without remembering her departed partner, a gentleman who has contributed so much to the Muslim community of Portland for many, many years. And I also remember that he was a good friend and a partner in life with my late husband, who is now departed since 8 years ago, and some of you know him. And we remember the departed because their souls are with us, encouraging us to move forward and achieve. So with that, thank you for your attention and for the opportunity to ask my questions. And I will turn it over to Sister Nadira to repeat my questions, and hopefully Dalia will be generous enough to give us more of what I've asked.
I want to share this with you. When she mentioned 30 years and counting, we still love each other. We are good friends, and we still give each other salams with a smile. Dalia, please.
Thank you very much for your questions. So the first one was regarding President Obama. I was appointed by President Obama to something called the White House Council on Neighborhood Faith and Neighborhood Partnerships. And what this council was for was a group of faith and civil society leaders who were advising the president on a number of agenda items and how faith communities could work with the federal government to solve problems in society. So I sat on this advisory council, and my agenda item that I was working on was improving relations between the U.S. and Muslim majority countries or Muslim communities around the world. But we had a number of limits on what we could advise or what we could recommend in the end, and we couldn't touch policy. So nothing about policy. You can't change foreign policy. It's the way it is. But let's improve relations with Muslim communities. So it was a bit ridiculous in that way. But my experience in that council, I mean, we came up with recommendations in the end, and how Muslim Americans really should be a brain trust for advice. That we have so much talent in our community. We should be brought in, and the federal government should use us as advisors for every topic, not just on Muslims or whatever, every possible thing. And in fact, the Obama administration did do that and started doing that. There were Muslim advisors on science and technology and poverty reduction and every topic we were involved, rather than just like pigeonholing us in one thing. But my main learning from this experience, first, we didn't meet with the president very often. Let me just kind of demystify this process. We were mostly having meetings with each other and discussing, and long phone calls, and it's just like any committee that you have ever been on. And it was volunteer, it was not paid. It was an honorary appointment. So we met with the president twice in the year that our term was, our term was 1 year. And, President Obama is as he seems. He's extremely intelligent and very charismatic. You may or may not agree with his, decisions and policies, but he is one of the most talented politicians, I think, of our generation. I mean, there's no doubt about that in my mind. So what I learned from this experience is very, very simple. Access doesn't equal influence. I had access. I was in the same room with all these people and with the president even. That didn't make me influential. What makes you influential is access plus organization. So the other people in that room who are from other faith communities had organizations behind them. They had millions of voters that they could, mobilize. I was a researcher. I had nothing. I was there with my research. And so it wasn't a fair, setup. Access is what we think will get us influence. We think if we get the photo op or in the same room as, someone important, we get a picture with them, that's what's going to help us. But it's not. It's about coming into the room, getting the access, that's important, with a set of agenda items, with asks, and then with leverage, with I will offer this or I will take this away from you if you don't comply. And I will hold you accountable. I will give you this fat check and then I will hold you accountable. And that's what and people way smarter than me already know this and are working on it. But that is what we need to do better at as American Muslims. And that was really my big learning from that experience, is that, yes, access was wonderful under Obama, but we actually didn't have very much influence. So that's the first question. Your second question was about the book. So I was tasked with writing this book by my company as a researcher at Gallup. And it was an opportunity of a lifetime. I couldn't imagine doing something so important, and to me it was just very, very impactful. And I asked for a co-author. I was supposed to write it alone, but I thought, bringing in a name like John Esposito would give it so much more credibility. He's written, 50 books on Islam and Muslims and the Muslim world. He's a known figure, and I felt like this would really help the book. So I had never met him. I had, no contact with him, and so I wrote him a cold email. Like, I found his email online, wrote him, and he responded within minutes. And he said he was interested in at least learning about it. So he came and he met with me and our CEO, Jim Clifton, and it was like instant chemistry, and we got to write this book together. Now, because I was working with John, he only had the summer to work on this project because of, he was a professor and so forth at the time. Now he's retired. So I gave birth, as I told you, I was pregnant when I moved to start this job. I gave birth on July 7th, 2006, which was a Friday. And I kid you not, by Monday of that week, 2 days later, I was on my laptop typing and writing this book because I didn't have time. The summer was the only time he had. So that's what I did. I had the time to do it because I was on maternity leave. That is how I spent maternity leave of baby number 2, was writing this book, and wallahi, it was such a struggle. I was like, I cannot believe this is what I have to do. But it was, I guess, the pressure of it and just the reality that this was, I had to. I had no choice. I mean, this was the time. And somehow, by the grace of God, I got done with it, and I wrote the book during that time.
And what's the name of that?
So the book is called Who Speaks for Islam? What a Billion Muslims Really Think. And if you don't want to read the book, you can watch the movie. So there's a documentary called Inside Islam, What a Billion Muslims Really Think, that UPF did. And I think you can watch it online. I don't know if you have to purchase it or rent it or something, but it's out there. It's based on the book, so they made a documentary based on the book. So those are the.
I would like to let those of you who are making the Maghrib Salat, it's upstairs. So this isn't in a, what should I say? If you are able or want to do your Maghrib, it is upstairs, and it's happening now. That was 2 minutes ago that I got the announcement, so I'm certain it's happening now. And for a moment, let's just take a little breather. Let's have some water and exchange ideas, plan for tomorrow, inshallah. My heart is like happy.
I just wanted to say thank you to all of them. It was so nice.
Isn't that right?
It was so interesting. I had a question, but I wasn't able to get it.
Oh, good to see you. I always know I'm in the right place.
Yes.
Oh, good job.
Alhamdulillah, it was so nice to listen to all of you. Read the book or watch it.
Is it? Thank you. You're perfectionist. Otherwise, you would find the students moving out. So we have to wrap it up. Brother.
Good to see you.
Assalamualaikum, sisters.
Good to see you.
Likewise. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum, my sweet.
Good to see you.
Thank you. It's good
I
to be
miss
here.
you.
But I see you all are still having breakfast and things.
Yes, and I see your daughter always, and I ask about you.
Oh. احنا المفروض نخلص لانه الساعة 8 بس بعرف انه الساعة 8 فهي المفروض نخلص. You need to wrap up the session.
I need to take a picture with you.
Yeah, okay. What's your number? Oh, his sister? Oh, yes, that sister right there.
Madam,
Okay, I think the meeting is just about to be over. Yeah, but I think you're right. But I didn't make the announcement. I'll ask her, was she? Yeah, so I think you need to wrap it up. I love you. Of course. So they will come and then say bye to each other. Oh, please. Yes, send it to us. Alhamdulillah. I need someone. Mona, Muna, Muna. Are we done? Are we done? The sister, or it's 8 o'clock. She says it's 8 o'clock. Our scientist, what's your title? Lila. No, Lila said it's time to wrap it up. Yes. So, there's what you want to say in there? Right. Everybody go home. Let's talk. Now that's not good, sisters. Sister, that one right there. I don't know her name. Sister. Sister. Her. Yeah. Her. Sister, here. What is her name? Somebody tell me this. Wait a minute, wait for me. I gotta come in. I'm turned in and turned sideways.
Thank you.
Can I take one too? Is that okay? Yeah,
I know we get your LinkedIn connection as well too, and I'll email you separately.
Okay.
Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're leaving. Where's the other one?
I'll be here.
Okay. What's the other one?
I wasn't sure.
Okay. Sister. Tell this sister right now.
No one move.
Oh, you know what?
Come on over.
We should all take one together.
Yes,
I
would love that.
When I would stand here.
Yes.
As a woman.
Don't want to come sit?
No, I would.
Okay, that's
Oh.
Of course.
No, okay.
I was like, one day I need to ask you and your sister about your parents. Your parents are still amazing.
Here's
I have 3 girls too. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, yeah.
Well, what do you ask me?
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, I'm not on the panel, so I feel
That's
okay.
Yeah.
And intelligent.
very nice.
It was so interesting to hear all of them, really.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Thank you all for coming too.
I loved your story. Your stories are wonderful. We will see you tomorrow, okay?
Inshallah.
Oh, it's totally, it's very misleading. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, my wife. Yes. So you're not the one Sunday. Okay. Right. I'll check it. Oh, really? Yeah. So I don't know, but I'll just. The story. I'm like, I need a screenwriter to write the story of this, that. You know what? When you were talking about that, it's exactly what I was thinking. I love writing a story. And I said, this would be the best story. Right. Like maybe we should just. She's almost been written out of history. She doesn't exist.
Do not get distracted.
Her son is a major history. Like that's someone who is in the history books.
No, I'm serious. Like I was sitting there thinking, because I love that. Here's another person.
I know the opening scene.
Like totally.
But the opening scene
just junk my glasses and. Be careful. Did you grab my card? Be right back. Are you staying nearby too? I'm staying at the embassy today. Oh, it is here. Yeah, because I was gonna say, what time are you? Do you have to be there tomorrow? Supposed to go to some brunch. Because I was gonna host brunch. Oh, you're gonna host brunch. Yeah, yeah. But if you already have a thing. Yeah. And can I get your card as well? Oh yeah, let me get you, please. Yeah.
But these are the moments.
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
Yes, I am. What's her name? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay. She's a good girl. Yes, thank you for making yourself known. Yes. Say your name again, because I'm going to tell her tonight. The main thing is that she's a good student and that she learned. Yes, yes, yes. I know. I've had some of them I have in the family. Pleasure. Thank you, sister. I thank you for coming, and I'm hoping that you enjoy the experience. I was thinking as well, but you know what? Sometimes the small groups are wonderful environment, and we're not going to talk long. Of course, and everyone else's. It was a pleasure, I hope, for you all, and that I'm just thankful that you were able to come, and these sisters were just outstanding. My heart is like this. Alhamdulillah. So I think we're done. I thought once she was going to come back, here it comes. We're done. Okay. Yes.
Thank you for sharing so much. My name is Benjamin.
Benjamin. And thank you for appreciating, because I appreciate all of you. This is good. And good to see the sisters come and be open. I love to share. Sometimes you feel good, like you were saying, different situations, you know. So it's a good time.
Thank you for, I think, your presence as
Yes, it's true. It's true. That's what I like that. I like that, Benjamin. You said Benjamin. My grandson is wonderful. His mother is awesome. Of course, they changed it. They call it Little Ben. You know, that's what we do. We make everything. Yeah. I'm glad you kept it. And do you have students or I don't know?
No, yes, I'm a teacher, but not here.
Okay, where are you?
So actually, I teach in St. Helens, but I live in Beaverton.
Oh, you're all over the
My
place.
first connection here was
And you're still returning.
so just knowing in kind of being Newark area, so like 11 years in the area, and came from Seattle. So I was teaching in the Portland area, and always wanted to get to know the community.
Yes. Yes. Right. That's exactly right. You know some of the history. And we're still at it.
I was in Gladstone teaching for 4 years.
Oh, you've moved around,
It was a joy to bring some students here to like field trip or exchange of the leadership youth that they had came to my classroom. So it was fun to have them be a guest speaker to my class.
And you had a connection or you know, to a new part of your history.
I was just asking, so just being curious, and so
What do you teach here? Did you say, what did you say Hillsborough? You said
no.
something else.
So now I teach in St. Helens. I've been there 7 years.
Okay, so that's what you
So yeah, it's come back community, and just a lot of it is bridge work. So just
That's what it is.
connecting. So well, it's a longer journey to bring guest speakers. That was one blessing in the pandemic was the virtual engagement, and so having guest speakers kind of virtually.
Which is excellent. But it's nothing like a one-on-one. Nothing like, I think about my stress in the city. She said it used to be, you know, she'd have a whole office or something. She would sing to the party where you just unplugged it. And she finished because of the keyboard or whatever. And I thought, yeah, that's bad. But, and I'm hoping always finding the good place. Because of the city, because, like I said, 30 years, 3 Nadeiras, you know, what can I say? My daughter, but I'm glad that you're here.
I teach in St. Helens, but I actually live in Beaverton, so I'm near Tannis Farm, so Bethany.
Oh, yes. There's another one. This one's in that, if I'm not mistaken, in the Bethany area. Okay. You have family there, or you by yourself?
I'm here with my 2 kids. So they're 7 and 11.
Okay, well then
That's
you know.
just them reminded me to get a picture. They were always asking me.
Have they ever been here yet?
They haven't been here. I've kind of come by and pointed it out to them.
Right, that's fine. And then little by little, you know, Brother Worship. Worship is the one back in the blue coat. Yeah. He is the welcomer. For the good people brought him or when he brought him to make sure he is the chance. They won't have to see it. What was that? You didn't ask me anything, but he will. That's good. So I want you to say, go home, make my prayer, and then maybe eat something. And
Shifting tables, chairs.
just someone who would answer that, Rona, I need your help. Yes. Hey, I love this sister. I ask her for everything and she usually gives me a yes. Otherwise she's walking on, something else. His name is Benjamin. And Benjamin, this is Rona. She works here at the school.